to The Lead Word. This is your host, Trey Dalbert, along with me as always, Chad Bauman. Today is Monday, July 15th. We're recording this at night. Chad, what's going on today? Make it a short show. What's happening?
Nothing much. I had a day off, so I checked out the Aladdin movie. Went and saw that.
Ooh. How was it?
Went to the gym.
Ooh.
That's about it.
Okay. How was the movie?
It's pretty good. It's not bad. It's a good movie. I'd recommend it.
Will Smith being in it kind of made me hesitant.
No, he does a good job. I think Will did what Will was good at. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't try to recreate Robin Williams or anything like that. He did a good job.
Okay. All right, Chad. So we're going to keep this short and sweet. Not a ton going on right now outside of baseball. So we have one topic. Chad, Russell Westbrook is the newest member of the Houston Rockets. Let me get your takeaways before I start.
I thought for the Thunder, this was a really good get back. Not so much for Houston. I feel like if they wanted Westbrook that badly, they could have got him for a lot less. They gave up pretty much 2 first-rounders and then 2 swaps, and they sent Chris Paul. I feel like if you look at it, Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, they probably cancel out. Paul's 4 years older than Westbrook, and Westbrook's about 4 inches taller. So, but they pretty much cancel out in my opinion. So I feel like you're kind of just giving up 4 or 2 first-rounders for Westbrook. And I think if you wanted him, you could have had him for less.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
All right, Chad. This was my initial takeaway. This just reeks of desperation to me. There's a lot of different ways I can go with this. Number one, isn't it possible that Houston was the second best team in the NBA 2 years in a row? They lost to Golden State in the semifinals, but everybody was healthy. And then the year before, if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, they probably win the whole thing. This team could have been the second best team in the entire NBA 2 years in a row. Is that fair?
I'll say third best because the Warriors beat them.
Yeah.
And they did it pretty convincingly in this series. I think they won, 4 games to 2 or something like that. So it wasn't that close.
But is it fair to say that this team could be worse with this trade? Because as much as we make of, Chris Paul and James Harden, they didn't like each other, isn't it possible that, they were an okay duo? They kind of fit. And I didn't think they would. Chris Paul can hit his shots, and he runs the floor when James Harden's not out there and kind of lets James Harden do his thing, and I don't think it was that bad of a pairing.
So you think Westbrook's going to be worse than Chris Paul? He likes James Harden. That's his guy.
He also liked Chris Paul. And then what happened? I think this is a disaster waiting to happen. First of all, mathematically, it is impossible for these two guys to keep up their current usage rates and play together.
It's not going to happen.
Over the last 5 years, Westbrook and Harden have the number 1 and number 2 usage rate in NBA history. The ball is constantly in both of their hands. It is mathematically impossible for them to keep up their usage rate and play together. This is going to be a disaster. It's going to be, okay, your turn. Oh, it's my turn now. Oh, it's your turn now. That's not going to work.
Well, maybe not. Everyone knows Westbrook likes to get assists. He's going to be passing the ball to Harden a whole lot. So maybe he's just 40 assists for Russell Westbrook.
The next thing I'll say, this is James Harden's team, right? We can assume that, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say, absolutely.
Okay, so under that assumption, it would also be fair to say that James Harden isn't going to change his playing style. He's the best isolation player in the NBA. It would be fair to say under that assumption he's not going to change, correct?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, so under that assumption, What is Russell Westbrook going to do? Because his entire career he's had the ball in his hands, and off the ball he really doesn't do a whole lot, and he can't really shoot. So exactly what is he going to do in a 3-point heavy offense where he can't really shoot? Because Chris Paul could hit his shots. Chris Paul could make his threes. Westbrook's not a good 3-point shooter. If he's going to sit there and stand in the corner and here you go, nobody's going to guard him.
Backdoor cuts. all eyes are on James Harden. He starts dancing, starts driving a little bit. They go to block him. Westbrook backdoors to the basket.
But my point is nobody's going to guard Russell Westbrook. They're just going to pack the paint, and whenever he cuts, there's going to be 3 guys standing there, and nobody's going to take him seriously from 3-point range. And this Houston offense, they are notoriously known for jacking up the most 3-point shots of any team there is. He's going to have to shoot because this is what the offense is.
They are who we thought they were.
I don't know about that. I think there's a plan to bring him in here. And it's not like Westbrook can't hit 3-pointers. He can hit open 3-pointers. It's not like he's Shaq shooting the 3 out there.
He's a 30% career 3-point shooter. That's not good. And it's worse in the playoffs.
Yeah, but if you go back and look at those, it's not like he's taking it's not like they're all wide open shots and he's missing 70% of them. Though a lot of his 3-pointers, if you look at them, they're bad 3-point shots. There are shots where if you watch Steph Curry take them, you're like, damn, okay, Steph took the 3-pointer with his eyes closed, doing a backflip, okay, and it went in. That's how Steph Curry plays. If you look at Russell Westbrook, he's taking the same shot, but it's like, hey, you're not that great of a 3-point shooter. You're not Steph Curry. But can Russell Westbrook, can he catch the ball wide open and shoot and make a 3-pointer? Yes, he can.
But Chad, that's my entire problem with Westbrook. His shot selection sucks. All he's going to do is jack up shots while he's covered. When he's wide open, he doesn't shoot them. He just, I'm going to look for his shot selection is horrendous. It's the number one reason why I can't stand him, because he drives into 8 guys and he can't finish around the rim, and then he takes these 3-point shots and defenders mess with him and they'll guard him half the time and sometimes they'll guard him, and it's a mind game with him. And he doesn't really defend. Neither of these guys defends. They're going to get torched on defense. Chris Paul could defend. They're going to get torched on defense.
I don't know. I have no argument there. Yeah, they both kind of suck on defense.
I don't think that really works. Like, okay, Steph Curry can't really defend, but Klay Thompson's really good at defending. And even in OKC, like, Westbrook didn't defend, but Paul George was a really good defender. And if you look at the teams that are successful, you can't have just complete liabilities across the board on defense.
The platinum rule.
I mean, Harden and Westbrook played together before, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, but they were also like 20-year-old kids and just getting started in the NBA, and they didn't really have defined roles, and Durant kind of carried them, and he was the guy, and it's completely different. James Harden was coming off the bench, if people don't remember that. In fact, these 2 guys didn't work together enough that one of them got traded, and when they did play together, Harden came off the bench.
That's a fair point.
I
mean,
think
there's got to be a plan here. You don't go out and trade for a guy and not have a plan.
Well, doesn't D'Antoni run the same? This Houston offense is the same exact Phoenix Suns offense with Steve Nash, and we know what we're getting.
They are who we thought they were.
He never changes. He never adjusts. D'Antoni said he's going to run the same thing he's always done. And if that's the case, they're screwed. What is the plan other than what we've seen from the Rockets since D'Antoni took over?
Maybe they have a plan to take the ball out of Harden's hands. Maybe that's why they brought in Westbrook.
All right. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't see any way this works. I really don't. I think Westbrook might be more talented than Chris Paul, but I don't see how this fits. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think there's no doubt there. Russell Westbrook's, an athletic freak. I don't know. I think it's going to be challenging for them. I agree with you. I think it's going to be challenging, but I can't help but feel like there's got to be something that, they're they have their mindset on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're wrong and they just got caught up in Westbrook's assist totals. Like, he can pass the ball, but
there's also a chance this happens. It comes about 20 games in and they're playing great together and they're really being unselfish, and then by the time the playoffs start getting closer and closer, these two guys are notorious for melting in the playoffs. Both of them have melted on occasions in the playoffs. James Harden has been seen quitting and then going to clubs during the playoffs. The second the playoffs start getting closer and closer, they're both going to start pressing, and they're both going to want their shots, and they're both going to want to be the hero, and they're both going to play the same way they've been playing. And if they keep playing the same way they've been playing, it's not going to work.
You ain't gonna do shit.
well, they could both quit and go to the club together.
I wouldn't doubt it. Chad, do you have anything else? I mean, I really don't see any way this works. I really don't.
I don't know. Maybe we look at it from the Thunder's point of view.
Yeah, okay.
They basically traded Russell Westbrook for a Chris Paul and I think it was 2025 pick, right? That's an 8th grader. Russell Westbrook just got traded for an 8th grader.
I have 2 things on Oklahoma City. Number 1, Sam Presti gets a do-over. How do you get Durant, Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka, and then somehow end up with Paul George, Steven Adams too? Victor Oladipo was on that team. Domantas Sabonis was on the team. And you have nothing to show for it. This is the most... I mean, has any team underachieved more than the Thunder?
I'm not impressed by your performance.
With the collection of players that they've had, they've accomplished nothing. This guy gets a complete do-over, and he's going to have 1,000 first-round picks.
Nah, not necessarily. I mean, he could be fired at the end of next season. He could be fired at the beginning of or after that season. You never know.
If we're being totally honest, he probably should get fired. The collection of players that he had, and he got nothing out of it. Nothing. He picked the wrong guy. Let's be honest. If he goes with Harden instead of Westbrook, he probably gets more for Westbrook, and the Thunder might have convinced Durant to stay, and they probably win a title.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
It's possible. They had that 73-win Warriors team beat. You swap out Westbrook for Harden, they might win.
That, or Westbrook could go 0 of 13 from beyond the arc, and they could lose.
But yeah, that's what Westbrook does.
I meant to say Harden. I meant to say Harden referencing, last year's playoffs.
Yeah, got it. Also, second thing, Chris Paul, buddy, you're not good anymore. You don't get a say where you go at this point. I find it so funny. The media's coming out and say, well, Chris Paul really needs to dictate where he's going next. Who the hell is he? He's old and washed up. They're going to sit here and say, ooh, Chris Paul is a choice. He's on a horrible contract. He doesn't get that say anymore. He's not the same guy.
It's not going to happen.
If he has to ride it out in OKC, then he has to ride it out in OKC.
I agree with that, but I wouldn't say Chris Paul is no good anymore. If you want to say he's washed up and mean that he's injury prone, hasn't been able to stay healthy because of his age, I would agree that, but
at this point in his career, why does he get a say where he gets to go? Nobody wants that contract.
Well, if it wasn't for the injuries, I think he could dictate, I want to go here, I want to go there.
It's not the reality. He's hurt all the time. He's not available.
Right, but you made it sound like what you said was he's not good anymore. I think there's a difference between not being good anymore and being hurt. When he's on the court, he's still one of the best players out there.
He can still play, but we don't know what he's going to look like this year. We don't know what he's going to look like next year. And 3 years from now, we really don't know what he's going to look like. He can barely stay healthy as it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Like nobody wants that contract. For him to say like, "Oh, I want out and I want to play for this team," like, who does he think he is?
What are the odds he retires at the end of next season?
No chance. When you got that kind of money coming in for 3 more years, no way.
Show me the money.
I mean, I guess that's true, but I mean, he made his money already. I'm sure. Hopefully, he has some of it left.
I would hope so. One last thing, though. I guess we can wrap it up here. Ben Simmons got his max extension today. Forgot about that. You have any thoughts for us? $170 million, 5 years.
I'm not mad at it because I've seen what they can do with Ben on the court.
All right.
For me, though, again, it's all going to revolve around. This is the final year for me and Ben Simmons.
Hey, I'm not going to be a real patient guy now.
I'm giving him one more chance. If he can't shoot a mid-range, nothing crazy. I just need a free throw distance shot. That's all I need. If he can work that into his game somehow, I'm fine with the extension. But the problem with him is he hasn't done it yet. There's been some videos on social media, him shooting the ball from outside the arc, uncovered and making it. So I'm hoping that's a good sign. But again, I think with Ben Simmons, he's a kind of athletic talent that, only comes around every once in a while. There's a reason why he was, there's a reason why he was the first pick in the draft. Athletically talented, there's very few guys in the league that are going to be his combination of size and speed. So it's worth it if he can find a mid-range. If not, you gotta move on after next season. There's going to be a trade market for him. You can trade for something, but you'll have to move on after that.
Yeah. I guess, on one hand, they just, had to do this. You take a guy first, pick in the draft, and it's not like he's a bust. You got to pay him. But at the same time, I would have loved to wait and see what he is this year before you pay him.
Again, I'm not mad at it because, look, he won that All-Star for a reason. He's worth it.
He has the potential to be one of the best players in the league. He just needs to be able to shoot, and it trumps everything. Just make the 10-foot shot. That's it. If he can't do that, he's really just a liability. If he can do that, he could be one of the best players in the league. There's no in between.
Well, the thing is, so I think the reason why I think you got to move on from him after this is because of the way you built your team around him. So you paid him. If he can get that shot, you're good. That's it. You got the team. If he can't develop the shot for this year, or doesn't have, obviously it's still a work in progress because he's still young. He's still 25 or 26 or something like that. So even if it's not perfect, let's say he shoots we'll say 35% taking that mid-range shot.
Oh God.
It's not ideal, but it's better than what he's been doing. Right, yes or no?
I guess. You got to hit at least 40 to me. 45.
Look, again, we're going from not at all to at 35%. So I'm good with 35%. Again, he's young. It's not like it's 35% and stop. It's 35% and keep getting better. So if he can get at least 35% on the mid-range alone, I'm not talking about layups and dunks and stuff like that, because you add that in there and his shooting percentage is going to be 45%. I'm just saying, if you focus on the mid-range alone, him shooting mid-ranges, get 35% for me this year, Ben. Next year we'll work on 40. Then we'll work on 45 after that. But get 35% from the mid-range this year. And that adds a different element to his game that he hasn't had these last 3 years that he's been in the league. If he can't do at least that, then you got to send him out of here. Let him go be a 4 on somebody else's team, because there's a market for him at the 4 spot. Someone will pay him to be a 4 and post up under the basket, get boards and putbacks.
I absolutely agree. I think there's a real possibility they could trade him if he can't shoot. Somebody will take him.
Right. Again, I'm not even asking for that much. Give me 35% this year. Just 35%. Because, again, you're going from nothing to 35%. That's all I need.
Well, the good news is he passed off Kendall Jenner onto Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, so, and again, he dumped her, or he got dumped by her. I don't know, whatever happened. He's been shooting. Been in the gym shooting. There's videographic proof. I don't know if they've been edited or not to show the ball actually going the hoop, but it's working, it looks like, apparently.
All right. That was a good place to wrap up. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
All right, so don't forget to give us a like and a follow. VendettaSportsMedia.com on Facebook. Give us a like. Follow us at Vendetta_media on Twitter, excuse me. You can follow me at Lowfooted, LILFOOTED, and you can follow Trey at Trey Daubert, TREYDAUBERT. Don't forget, again, to check out the site on Twitter because that's where a lot of the updates are going to be. We got Scott Baker coming back with articles and stuff. I don't know exactly what Scott's going to be doing, but he's coming back. But thanks for giving us a listen, and we'll see you next week.